Hello and welcome to IBM TV. Today I'm joined by Luke Harrison, Product Manager for RT Software. Luke, welcome to IBM TV.
Thank you.
Can you start by telling us about RT Software?
Well, essentially RT Software is a 3D graphics company. So we have products for 3D overlays and virtual studios, and that's where our background is in. Well, we now have a suite of products which includes things like sports enhancements, which is telestration tools for adding graphics to sports matches. We have a panoramic stitch to allow you to stitch two 4K outputs together, and so on. We recently brought out a 2D version of our graphics renderer, and then sitting on top of it all is, of course, we have modules for workflow enhancements, things like automated distribution of graphic assets, data integration and control. And these are products that are in use with broadcasters all over the world.
So you're a 3D company, but as you just mentioned, they brought out a 2D product. How does that work?
Well, yeah, you're right. We are a 3D company. Actually, we were formed in 2004 by what was the BBC Computer Graphics Department. So our founders were very much involved with the BBC's first forays into virtual studios back in the late 90s. So we have a lot of experience there in terms of integrating camera tracking technology, compensating things like lens distortion and so on. So it gives us a big advantage. And we've ported that over onto other products, things like our sports telestration now, where we can have chroma key and we can put graphics onto the pitch for half-time type analysis. And then, of course, we can support VR tracked cameras. So for customers who want to do live insertions of sponsored logos and virtual distance markers or finish lines for things like horse racing. Now the 2D graphics product, actually that's quite interesting. That came out of our relationship with OEM vendors of things like channel-in-a-box solutions, where they want to provide graphics on their channel-in-a-box solution, so they give the customer the complete solution for playout. So 2D was first made available to these such vendors as a DLL to run on their box. That requirement is very much just 2D. You know, you're in playout, you just want to do squeeze and tease, we're showing what's coming next, or maybe an infographic with an L bar and so on. So that's where 2D came from. And we thought, well, you know, maybe we can release it as a standalone product where we port it into our video output, integrate it to our control solution, and so it becomes a standalone 2D graphic solution. And we've actually been very pleased with the interest in that. It turns out there is still a demand for a graphic solution which has all the powerful workflow tools of a high-end product, but doesn't have the complexity and steep learning curve of 3D graphics.
Okay. So what are some of the trends that you're seeing in broadcast graphics?
Well, in terms of standard graphics, obviously you've got this sort of move to standardization on formats like 4K and HDR. And that's being worked on right now, and that's quite important to provide clarity for the way the industry is moving. We've responded to that with when we went 4K, we introduced things like 10-bit color depth and floating point rendering and so on. So we are ready for wherever the industry decides to move, whether that be 8K, 16K or HDR, we're ready to deploy that. In graphic playout, we've seen a move certainly towards distributed control, where the control application is no longer constrained to just one point. You know, you may have multiple control applications controlling a single renderer, or one control application controlling multiple renderers. And we have a web control-based product where actually you control any of our renderers through a Chrome browser. So any device that's on the facility network can control any renderer. And of course we manage permissions and so on as to who can actually control each one. And that has a lot of implications for things like redundancy or flexibility of playout. If a customer wants to move gallery, fine, your graphics operator can just go to that gallery, log on from there and control whichever renderer they wish to. Then of course we're seeing a move to virtualization. Okay? What we are seeing is little broadcasters for cost and maintenance reasons want to reduce the amount of physical rack space in their machine rooms. With the increased power of GPUs and things like IP distribution of video, virtualization becomes possible, where you can render multiple graphics from one workstation. And at NAB and IBC last year, we actually were showing that. We had one Dell workstation rendering 8 different channels of graphics from one 2U box. And some of those graphics were going out over SDI, some of them were going out over IP using the UTech NDI, just one of the many formats we support. And this is becoming reality. It's going from demonstration to deployment. Through our relationships with SAM, for example, we had a very successful relationship with Snell Advanced Media where they are using our 2D DLL, which is deployment in hundreds of channels across the world. They are going to be introducing this virtualization to a tier 1, very world-renowned broadcaster, I'm not allowed to say who, but they're going to be doing over 100 channels virtually, and that deployment is commencing next week.
Yeah. So it sounds like massive amounts of development.
Yeah.
Where does all your development take place?
We're based in a new office in West London, in Fulham, which we moved into last year as part of our general expansion. And all the development takes place there. We have, within the office, we have everybody that's involved with RT software. We have the development team, we have support, sales and marketing, the graphic services team, and not to mention a VR demo studio in-house. So, and from there we support customers all over the world. Perhaps our biggest export market is Australia, New Zealand. We've been very successful there, so everything's supported from one place. But being in one location gives us a great advantage. It means that collaboration is easy, so it makes us very flexible, very agile in terms of responding to customer needs and fulfilling their requirements.
So lots of exciting things going on there, Luke.
Yeah,
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
You can find out more at rtsw.co.uk.